No way, ancestor was shocked as he looked down at a faraway spot. How is it possible that he could comprehend the heart of the beast? Weeds grew all over the plain. There was a towering sculpture of a gigantic lizard positioned in a slight squat as though poised for takeoff. And at the back of the gold beast god sculpture, Luo Feng lay on a bed of scales, eyes squinting. He was looking in midair, where countless complicated gold threads of engravings flowed continuously. His hundreds of millions of years of painstaking cultivation were no different from one another. In fact, Luo Feng had fallen into a unique state. He'd spent hundreds of millions of years studying the 8 pictures of engravings of the gold beast god, where every picture of engravings represented a different aspect of the gold beast god. 8 pictures of engravings. Luo Feng felt as though he was looking at a different face of the gold beast god every day, and day after day, month after month, year after year. The years went by. Luo Feng went on studying these 8 pictures of engravings, and for a good many years, he felt as though he had the company of gold beast god every waking and sleeping moment of his life. Currently, Luo Feng had lost himself to the 180 million years spent on studying these pictures of engravings. He forgot who he was. Now he felt as though he actually was a beast god. Joy, happiness, anger, rage, insanity. He was roaming the universe. He was fighting his enemies in bloody battles stretching to endless voids. The fighting extended to other galaxies until finally, he unwillingly breathed his last. Luo Feng lay unmoving, his eyes gradually closing. Only the gold beast god was real. All else was fabricated. His sleep went on for a whole millennium. During this millennium, even Luo Feng's original earthling body and his remote ocean body went into a deep slumber. No matter who tried, no one at all was able to contact Luo Feng. Over the course of 1,000 years, Luo Feng forgot his human memories. He forgot everything. In his deep slumber, he thought of himself as a beast god. A millennium went by peacefully. Then Luo Feng opened his eyes. Is this the so-called transformation of things? Asked Luo Feng. Was it my illusion or was it reality? The moment he opened his eyes, he was in a trance, stupefied and unable to differentiate whether he was Luo Feng or a beast god. But quickly, he sobered up. Hundreds of millions of years worth of human memories came flooding back and overrode the memories that he had collected while he was incarnated as the beast god. A beast god? What a magical feeling! Luo Feng lay on the back of the gold beast god sculpture, reminiscing about the feeling of being a beast god, which was still so vivid to him. He felt as though he could go back into that state easily. A beast god was an entirely different existence from that of humans. It was in a state that was detached, free, and true to its own nature. At the apex of the mountain, Ancestor watched the entire episode, shaking his head amidst sighs. He found it all so ironic. The final bottleneck of the beast god path, he said. Heart of beast god, the most difficult stage to comprehend and the most difficult to find, yet he has mastered it. The beast god path, according to the ancestral god school, was divided into a total of 7 major inheritances. Upon figuring out the entire beast god path, one would have attained the universe master level and become a pinnacle existence in the universe, yet it was not that simple for one who wanted to become a universe master. Just as it was with the golden horned beast's lineage, after countless eras, they only had a total of 2 universe masters. Similarly, the flaming star beast's lineage had only 1 universe master. All of this clearly reiterated the fact that becoming a universe master was difficult to the point of nearly being impossible. There were many levels to accomplish. One of the beast god path's most difficult levels to figure out because of its ethereal nature was understanding the heart of beast god. Upon achieving this level, one could truly become an incarnation of the beast god. This had left many universe overlords wondering, like Luo Duo and the many universe overlords, if they could only be incarnations of pseudo-beast gods because they were unable to understand the heart of beast god. Without a heart of beast god, there was no way one could truly become an incarnation of a beast god. For Luo Feng, this was an unintentional reward, as he spent such a long time wholeheartedly studying the 8 pictures of secret engravings. Tens of millions of years of dedicated work had led him into a deep slumber where he forgot everything. During his slumber, he dreamed about leading the life of a beast god for a long time. This Luo Feng made a resounding name of himself in less than 100,000 years. Said Ancestor, in my beast god sector, he has cultivated himself for around 180 million years. He has dedicated himself wholly to studying the secret engravings of golden space. Without any guidance, solely based on his own experience, he has attained the highest level. At the tip of his fingers, he could create techniques at the universe night level. Obviously, he will have become extremely familiar with the gold beast god's 8 pictures of secret engravings. And these 8 pictures are the full representation of gold beast god. Moreover, thought ancestor, golden horned beasts are descendants of the gold beast god. They can easily understand the heart of beast god. For two to merge as one, accomplishing this is expected. Ancestor quickly understood why it was the process of accumulating richly and breaking forth vastly. Luo Feng had waited patiently, so when he had everything he needed to know in place, he would achieve success. After all, Luo Feng did spend 180 million years studying these pictures of secret engravings. It only took him thousands of years to attain the pinnacle emperor level, tens of thousands of years to develop his talent of creating 3 forms of ultimate technique. If he continued to study the laws, given 180 million years, Luo Feng would have cultivated himself to the level of a senior universe knight, all just to defeat ancestor. So, Luo Feng had not spent an inkling of effort on law comprehension. He gave his all to studying the pictures of secret engravings. Hence, he attained his achievements in these chosen studies, which far surpassed his achievements in law comprehension. After all, law comprehension required many tens of thousands of years to cultivate. Just studying the pictures of secret engravings, he spent 180 million years. That was simply incomparable. This is ancestor, who had calmed himself previously, suddenly revealed a sharp change in expression. He was unable to believe what he saw as he looked down at the beast god sculpture on the vast plain. Luo Feng was lying down on the sculpture. Even when he had previously comprehended the heart of the beast god, he had not shown such arrogance and rudeness. On the back of the beast god sculpture, after Luo Feng woke from a millennium of deep slumber, he started to study the 8 pictures of engravings of the gold beast god all over again. With the picture of secret engravings of his miniature universe as the final template, he tried to create a technique of his own. He could still feel the aftermath of his 1,000 years of slumber, during which the heart of beast god possessed an indistinct influence over him. Fua! 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 Countless golden threads floated midair. It should be like this, he said. Yes, like this. It must be by pure luck or coincidence, as Luo Feng himself was unclear of the underlying theories he used when he speedily combined all 8 pictures of secret engravings. Other than the majority of the law threads being combined based on his strong foundation, there were a few law threads that were combined purely based on his unique instincts, where he was free of inhibitions and followed his heart's desire without a second thought. It was as though the gold beast god was wandering about the universe, following its heart, killing when it wanted to kill, eating when it wanted to eat, sleeping when it wanted to sleep. When it came to the method of combining the law threads, he was still unsure of. He combined them with such an attitude following his heart. The most important thing was to feel pleased and fulfilled in the moment. Ha! Suddenly, a golden ray appeared. The golden ray sliced through heaven and earth in the blink of an eye. The frozen space was forcefully pried apart to reveal a ripple gully. Even the ground, under the resonating waves of the light ray, was cut apart to give way to a deep valley tens of millions of miles long. In an instant, the whole surface underwent a fundamental change. Then normality returned. I am left with such little godly power, said Luo Feng. He was dumbfounded as he sat on the back of the gold beast god sculpture. He gazed at the end of the vast land, at the deep valley, until everything returned to normal. What level of technique was that? Luo Feng could not believe he was so powerful. A few thousand years on law comprehension was enough for him to attain pinnacle undying level. If these 180 million years were spent devoted completely to studying law comprehension, for him to master the 6th, or even to the 7th stage of the beast god path was certainly achievable. Yet he had spent this long period of time studying only the pictures of secret engravings. He was certainly successful, and now he could easily create techniques at the universe knight level, or, at times, he might even be able to create ultimate techniques at the universe overlord level. He was that powerful. Yet in terms of magnitude, his power was far less than that of the light ray. Could it be the ultimate technique of a universe master? Luo Feng still found it unbelievable. If he had not been mastering it, he would not have known. After all the studies on the pictures of secret engravings, he knew that while sometimes, with a stroke of luck, the pictures of secret engravings could allow one to miraculously create a set of technique, but the more powerful a technique was, the more it was impossible to depend solely on luck. Foundation was more important. 180 million years. Luo Feng was very accomplished in his studies of the pictures of secret engravings and could easily create techniques that were at the universe knight level. But the most powerful technique that he had created so far was merely the Universe Overlord Ultimate Technique, which was 2 levels higher than the ones he normally created. If he wanted to create a technique of a Universe Master level, he guessed he might need many hundreds of millions of years more. If the day came when he could readily create techniques of Universe Overlord level however he pleased, then who knew? He might get lucky and happen to create a technique of the Universe Master level. The foundation required would be higher. The most talented painter, with a stroke of inspiration, could paint a superior picture. But without a solid foundation, even with inspiration, one would not be able to produce a sensational piece of work. Luo Feng had now built a very strong foundation for himself. As an individual in the context of the universe, he could be considered a master, a founder capable of creating techniques. However, if he was expected to create techniques of Universe Master level, then to him, it was still something unbelievable. Is it a technique of the Universe Master level? Su! Luo Feng jumped up from where he was and flew to a faraway spot on the mountain. On his shoulder was a golden horned beast. After flying for a short while, he arrived at the mountain cliff where there were 3 technique sculptures, all of which had been left behind by Space Beast Universe Masters. These 3 were all techniques of the Universe Master level. I shall carve the engravings of my creation with the use of my power. I should be able to understand it. Luo Feng looked at the stone surface. Godly power was gushing out, and all he could see at that very moment was a huge picture of a technique that was complicated beyond comprehension. Even many universe knights would have felt as though they were reading a heavenly book. Even if Luo Feng were to spend 180 million years, he would still be unable to comprehend this. This picture of technique was simply too deep to be fathomed. It exuded an endless wave of power that corresponded to the magnitude of power coming from the other 3 ultimate technique sculptures beside it. It was not the least bit weaker. It represented hundreds of millions of years of hard work, plus a heart of beast god. At any moment, Luo Feng spontaneously created such a technique. This was a technique he had created with the picture of secret engravings of his miniature universe as a template. It might be considered a simplified version of it. It was simply a near-perfect combination of the 8 beast god pictures of the gold beast god that formed the attack type technique, ultimate level technique of Universe Master. At the apex of the mountain, Ancestor watched. Tens of millions of years spent on experiencing, learning and creating, he mattered. And the heart of beast god. If at any point in time, the 8 pictures of secret engravings of the gold beast god are almost perfectly combined, whether in a manner that makes sense or not, such a technique will emerge. At that moment, he transmitted a message to Sitting Mountain Guest, who was in the primal universe. Sitting Mountain Guest, he said, why are you still not on your way here? After only a short while, Sitting Mountain Guest showed up at the peak of the mountain. Did you call me here for drinks? Sitting Mountain Guest asked as he strolled toward Ancestor. Ancestor pointed in the distance, standing beside the cliff. Look at your disciple, Luo Feng. Sitting Mountain Guest looked in the direction Ancestor pointed and saw Luo Feng sitting beside a cliff. He appeared surprised and joyful after gazing for a while, then started to laugh. Old beast god, no one in the universe can rival you on the path of 8 gods. However, this disciple of mine created a technique using the 8 engraving pictures of gold beast god. Do you admit your defeat? How can you say I'm going to lose before he even fights me? Ancestor said. Sitting Mountain Guest shook his head. Stop quibbling. Ancestor didn't continue about the upcoming fight. Instead, he exclaimed, your disciple is indeed impressive. It's fair to say that he had some luck when creating the technique, but no one in history could practice the engraving pictures so well in only 180 million years without any instructions. Besides, he has comprehended the heart of Beast God, and that's why it's easier for him to comprehend the 8 engraving pictures of Gold Beast God. It's easy for him to create Universe Knight level techniques, and if he's willing to devote his time and energy, he'll be able to create the Universe Overlord level ones as well. Even real Universe Overlords needed to spend an overwhelmingly long time to create Universe Overlord level ultimate techniques. To some extent, even those on the engraving path were better at creating techniques. Luo Feng was at least at the senior Universe Knight level when it came to his accomplishments among those who were on the engraving path. The heart of Beast God, Sitting Mountain Guest looked pleased. Then he guffawed. A pleasant surprise. What a pleasant surprise, indeed. He's a golden horned beast, which makes him a descendant of beast gods. Ancestor exclaimed. His bloodline inheritance is close to Gold Beast God, and with his research into those 8 engraving pictures, he can finally comprehend the heart of Beast God. He is indeed lucky, but I can't say it's because of luck alone. Ha ha ha! Sitting Mountain Guest laughed heartily. Look at you. Ancestor shook his head. No wonder Sitting Mountain Guest was so proud. The accomplishments on engraving path could help Luo comprehension to a great extent. There wouldn't be many barriers until Luo Feng became a universe overlord, especially with the Heart of Beast God. It would now be easier for him to proceed along the Beast God path. Heart of Beast God was the greatest challenge, to turn from a universe overlord into a universe master, and that problem was now solved. Although it was still extremely difficult for him to become a universe master, he at least had a much higher chance. Sitting Mountain Guest glanced at Ancestor and rejoiced inside. Little do you know that this disciple of mine obtained inherited techniques before, and he can better study the engraving pictures with the instruction from the engraving picture of his supreme inherited technique. Regardless, it's still impressive of him to create a supreme inherited technique and comprehend the Heart of Beast God in only 180 million years. Sitting Mountain Guest looked down. In front of the cliff, the energy from the sculpture of the engraving picture was equivalent to that of the 3 ultimate techniques of universe masters. I did it, said Luo Feng. It's an ultimate technique of universe masters. Luo Feng stood in front of the cliff for a long time. He felt like he was in a dream. I did it, he repeated, after 180 million years. Luo Feng was confident that he could create ultimate techniques of universe overlords. As for ultimate techniques of universe masters, it would involve some luck. Luo Feng suddenly looked to the sky and transmitted his voice. Ancestor, he said, I challenge you. Ancestor, wearing in a white cape, quickly flew in from afar. He landed on the ground and smiled at Luo Feng. You're going to challenge me? He said. Yes, answered Luo Feng. Luo Feng knew that even if he lost, he could keep doing research and trying. After all he needed to do was to defeat Ancestor within 100,000 years. What weapon should I use? Luo Feng asked. Let's use our bare hands, shall we? Ancestor raised his left hand. This godly body of his had been transformed from other elements. Hands, said Luo Feng. He was taken aback. Hands as weapons? You've already comprehended the Heart of Beast God, said Ancestor. Don't you think your hands are weapons? Luo Feng was startled. Thousands of years' worth of memories flooded back. 4 beast gods traveling in the universe, their claws, tails, and horns all contained the beast god conception. Even the spiritual force weapons were the bodies of beast gods at this moment. Luo Feng felt as though the enormous gap between close combat and spiritual force weapons had disappeared. The techniques he had created could be used both for close combat and as spiritual force weapons. Warrior path and spiritual force leader path, they're the same. Luo Feng was bewildered. You've comprehended the Heart of Beast God. Ancestor smiled. If you didn't, you had to focus on either the warrior path or the spiritual force leader path. After all, mixing them together is bad for comprehending the Heart of Beast God. Besides, beast gods are naturally better at using their godly bodies to fight, which is why those on the warrior path are better at comprehending the Heart of Beast God and finally become beast gods. Luo Feng nodded. Primal Chaos City leader had told him this before and insisted that he concentrate on the warrior path. However, for the past 180 million years, he had set aside the warrior path and spiritual force leader path, instead focusing on the engraving picture path. Without realizing it, he had fully comprehended the Heart of Beast God. Do you still need weapons? Ancestor asked. Luo Feng smiled. If beast gods can use their claws, then I can use my hands as well. Ancestor stood still. Attack, he commanded. Luo Feng looked from afar and used the martial body for the combat. After all, Ancestor would also use the godly body at the same level. Ha! Countless engravings started to flow on Luo Feng's godly body, and he dashed toward Ancestor like a beam of golden light. At this moment, Luo Feng felt the beast god in his body charging his competitor. The attack contained the beast god path and also contained ultimate techniques of universe masters. The attack was fierce and quick, faster than the sure Wu wings. Break! Luo Feng arrived at where Ancestor stood. He grabbed Ancestor as his left hand became a claw, and the engravings on its fingers started to connect with each other. Pang! Ancestor waved his hand, and they clashed. Ancestor took a step back. Ha ha ha! Luo Feng felt overjoyed. The memories of the beast god merged with him at this moment. Charge! Claws! Legs! Luo Feng was absorbed in the golden light, and the roaring of beast gods resounded around him. Fast! Sharp! Ancestor was suppressed. Although he tried to resist it, Luo Feng was getting more and more skilled. as if he truly were a beast god. Pang! His fingers were sharp like claws. Pu! They pierced through Ancestor's chest. Ancestor looked down, smiled, and nodded. He took a step back, and his godly body recovered. You won, he said. Luo Feng, standing in the golden light, was dazed. Had he actually defeated Ancestor? Ancestor would only perform universe master level pinnacle techniques, and though he could only maintain his godly body at the same level as Luo Feng's, he was still Ancestor. After all, it was a surreal feeling to have defeated Ancestor. Thank you, Ancestor, Luo Feng said respectfully. Ancestor had focused on defense from the beginning of the combat, which was why Luo Feng had been able to make better and better attacks, and thus fully understand the way beast gods fought. No need to thank me, said Ancestor, shaking his head and smiling. I performed the best defense pinnacle techniques of universe masters, but I still failed to defend against you. I might have won if I had attacked first, but you will still win over me after several challenges. There's no need to waste time. Luo Feng was full of gratitude. He had benefited so much in the past 180 million years in the Beast God sector. The heart of Beast God was a pleasant surprise, and the engraving picture path was a brand new path for him. Plus, he had created an ultimate technique of the universe master level. Ha ha ha! A guffaw resounded around him, followed by a shadow. Sitting Mountain Guest looked at Luo Feng from afar. After 180 million years, this disciple of his had finally evolved. In the past, Luo Feng hadn't had much time to practice. He stood among the great beings because of the enormous godly body and force armor, but when it came to laws and techniques, he was significantly weaker. Yet his law comprehension and techniques had now reached an incredibly eminent level, even better than many universe overlords. I've accumulated enough, said Sitting Mountain Guest. I believe this disciple of mine will have an easy time becoming a universe overlord. Perhaps the only difficulty he's going to have is becoming a universe master. Sitting Mountain Guest was satisfied. Flame Emperor had disappointed him, which was why he had devoted all his resources and time to his third disciple. Fortunately, his third disciple hadn't upset him. The laughter attracted both Luo Feng and Ancestor. Master? Luo Feng was dazed by the shadow flying toward him. Sitting Mountain Guest, said Ancestor with a smile. Don't be smart. Your disciple is indeed impressive, however. Don't forget that he has a golden horn beast body, and his soul has completely merged with the godly body. It's almost impossible to tell whether he's a human or a golden horn beast. Who will say no if I insist that he's a golden horn beast? That's between your alliance and the humans, Sitting Mountain Guest said as he landed. It has nothing to do with me. Whether this disciple of mine belongs to the human race or Space Beast Alliance doesn't concern me at all. Luo Feng stepped forward and said, Master. Okay, Sitting Mountain Guest smiled and nodded. He glanced at Ancestor. Don't forget our bet. Luo Feng's face immediately registered a look of anticipation. Previously, he had heard from Ancestor that the gap between Ancestor and Teacher Sitting Mountain Guest involved his wager a set of True Treasure series and Teacher's wager a piece of a pinnacle True Treasure. If Ancestor lost, then he would have to bestow this set of True Treasure series to Luo Feng. This was definitely a great opportunity. For them to use these items as wagers meant the True Treasure series and the pinnacle True Treasure must have been of comparable value. His force armor was one such pinnacle True Treasure, and Blade River Luo, a top-tier domain-type True Treasure with an extremely strong attacking power, was comparable to force armor. It was so massive that its entire birth process had to be divided into several segments to reach completion. Thus, it was quite a sensation. It was little wonder that Flame Emperor had been so reluctant to give up force armor to Luo Feng back then. Such events went to show that true treasures such as force armor and Blade River Luo were very precious, so precious, in fact, that great beings like Flame Emperor and Primal Chaos City Leader covet them. Yet only Universe Supreme beings such as Ancestor and Sitting Mountain Guest had the magnitude of boldness to use such precious treasures as the stakes in a bet. You are one of the top 9 powers in the universe, Ancestor of Space Beast Alliance. You can't be that petty, teased Sitting Mountain Guest. I am waiting for that True Treasure series of yours. Ancestor cast a look at Sitting Mountain Guest. His expression revealed his heartache. Even a being as great as Ancestor would feel the sting of this loss. Previously, when he had been so confident that he would win the pinnacle True Treasure from Sitting Mountain Guest, he had not expected that he would lose the gamble. Fair is fair, Ancestor said. This True Treasure series is one I can still afford to lose. According to our agreement, I shall bestow this True Treasure series to Luo Feng. Yes, Sitting mountain guest smiled and nodded. That's right. Bestow it to my disciple. Ancestor turned to look at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, ancestor. Luo Feng replied respectfully. He did not consider defeating ancestor something to be proud of. It was, after all, only to fulfill a gamble. If ancestor were to display his true power, his ability to ensure that whatever order he gave would be effectively enforced would have rendered Luo Feng powerless with no way to fight back. If one was willing to pay the price, he could even kill a universe master. Look! Ancestor pointed in midair, and a black beast figure suddenly appeared. Ha! Luo Feng looked carefully. It was a wild beast that was black from head to toe. It had 4 powerful hooves and claws, as well as sharp fangs that pointed to the sky and a single horn on its forehead that gave off a shiny gleam. Its body was covered with layers of armor, as though it were filled with limitless magical power. Luo Feng was completely captivated at first glance. It was truly a stirring beauty. The black wild beast was around 300 feet tall, and it landed right in front of Luo Feng. It was then that Luo Feng realized, to his astonishment, that this was a dead creature. It was lifeless. Ancestor walked over and caressed the leg of the gigantic beast. This is my true treasure series. I named it Beast God Armor. Sitting mountain guest looked on with great pleasure, then laughed aloud. Ancestor cast him a glance before turning to look at Luo Feng. Your teacher is gloating, but it's to be expected. Previously, because of this true treasure series, there was chaotic battling all over. Your teacher was so scheming. He launched a sneak attack and immediately fled the scene. I had to pay quite a sizable price to defeat that adverse universe, and finally, I managed to obtain this true treasure series. Listening on, Luo Feng felt his excitement rising. It was as though he had personally undergone this battle of universe supreme masters. This true treasure series consists of a total of 526 true treasures, of which 521 are ordinary true treasures, 4 are senior true treasures, and the remaining one is a top-tier true treasure, Ancestor explained. The sharp fangs and scales on its body, for instance, can be dismantled and used individually. Combining everything to form one body, its power is massive. Luo Feng was shocked. 526 true treasures to form one true treasure series. It was said that Primal Chaos City Leader's 1000 treasure river was formed by 1000 true treasures put together, and this, in Luo Feng's eyes, did not pale in comparison. Moreover, out of these 526 true treasures, one was at the top-tier level. Breaking this down, the horn alone is a top-tier true treasure, said Ancestor. And once combined with the power of a few hundred other true treasures, its power will skyrocket. Ancestor gave a sentimental sigh. By placing this true treasure series on one's godly body, every part of the godly body becomes a weapon ready to attack. It is definitely the most suitable tool for a great being who wants to cultivate the Beast God path and become a universe master. I named it Beast God Armor and had planned to bestow it to one of the universe masters from my Space Beast Alliance that I found to have great potential. Ancestor looked at Luo Feng. Now, it's yours. Luo Feng felt his heart pounding faster. Beast God Armor. Thank you, Ancestor, Luo Feng said, showing his gratitude respectfully. Ancestor smiled and nodded, and with one wave, the black beast figure flew over to Luo Feng. A golden horned beast appeared on Luo Feng's shoulder. At this moment, his golden horned beast body had temporarily put away the force armor, Sure Wu wings, the 9 Tiger River, and the other treasures, storing them in the world ring. It swooped down while exerting its godly power, speedily encircled the black beast figure to brand the beast with its life imprints. Ha! The black beast figure was instantly broken up into several hundred true treasures, all black in color, which flew over to golden horned beast at top speed and settled on him. There, the true treasures fully integrated into golden horned beast's body, covering every inch of him. In an instant, golden horned beast transformed into a gigantic beast that was jet black all over. The scales covering every inch of his godly body were like knife blades. Even his fangs grew tremendously. The 5 sharp horns originally on his forehead had become 6. The middle horn was the longest, with a length of approximately 1.5 feet. At this juncture, Golden Horned Beast still maintained his miniaturized godly body, which was 3 feet long. Luo Feng's consciousness was cheering with joy. Wonderful! Those sharp claws, that tail, that godly body, and those sharp horns. Everywhere, every part of it was a true treasure. This true treasure series was truly deserving of being considered most compatible with the Beast God path. Furthermore, Beast God armor had incredible defensive power. It was essentially an attack-type true treasure, and its defensive power was comparatively weaker. Yet its defensive power would still be on par with ordinary treasures of a top-tier true treasure defense armor. The instant Luo Feng branded the armor with his life imprints, Beast God armor transmitted some ancient information, including its actual name. Luo Feng was secretly confused. Ha! This Beast God armor was originally named Northern Rock. What a strange name. Many treasures had original names, such as Silver Dragon Phantom and Golden King armor. However, their new users would normally give them other names, such as Ancient Bolt Galaxy and Golden Armor. Beast God armor's original name had been Northern Rock. Regardless of what its original name was, this Beast God armor is indeed the most suitable one for my Golden Horned Beast bot. Excellent! Roar! Golden Horned Beast got worked up and could not help letting out a roar of excitement. Ancestor nodded with satisfaction. Luo Feng, come here. Sitting Mountain Guest shouted out. Luo Feng obeyed immediately. Sitting Mountain Guest took Luo Feng aside and changed the universe law of the surroundings. If Ancestor wanted to listen to their conversation, he could, of course, make use of the universe laws to forcibly suppress this, but Ancestor would not go to that extent. It was obvious that Sitting Mountain Guest had something to discuss with his disciple in private. Teacher, Luo Feng said as he sat down beside Sitting Mountain Guest. Just a short 180 million years to succeed. Well done. Sitting Mountain Guest nodded his approval. You are stronger than your second brother. Luo Feng listened submissively. Back then, I made you the star map, but looking at you today, I'm afraid it will no longer be of much help, Sitting Mountain Guest said. Although you may only be a pinnacle undying now, you are highly accomplished in the studies of secret engravings. You are already at a strategically advantageous position. If you were to move on to studying the law path in an extremely short period of time, you will be able to achieve a breakthrough and become a universe knight. Even if making your way past the threshold to be a universe knight may somewhat affect you, 1,000 years should be enough. Luo Feng nodded. He was also very confident. Studying the pictures of secret engravings had made him feel that studying the law path would be simple. It would be easy to understand. Previously, he had been restricted to only studying the engravings because of the gamble, so Luo Feng had simply refrained from studying the law path. When you have become a universe knight, you will be using Star Tower while being new to it, but you will already be able to activate the entire Star Tower, Sitting Mountain Guest said. By then, with Star Tower this star map will be useless. Luo Feng nodded and could not help asking, Teacher, does this mean that I have to undergo another ordeal to obtain the 5th black metal board of the 9-volume manual? To obtain the 3rd black metal board, Luo Feng had sent himself to Ice Hell. To obtain the 4th, he had fallen into this Beast God sector. No, said Sitting Mountain Guest. Then he added with a smile, if your teacher's methods are all so easily fathomed, could I still be called a teacher? Luo Feng was taken by surprise. In terms of training through ordeals, this Beast God sector has put you through enough, Sitting Mountain Guest said. 180 million years you can now create a universe master ultimate technique. Based on your studies on pictures of secret engravings and the law path, we have mutual confirmation. That's enough. What about the 5th black metal board? Asked Luo Feng. He could not wait to get his hands on the 5th black metal board right away. When the time comes, you will know. Sitting Mountain Guest said. Luo Feng was left with no other choice. Sitting Mountain Guest looked at Luo Feng with a satisfied expression. Continue to work hard. Your power is extremely strong now. But just wait until the day you use Star Tower. No one in this universe will be able to look down on you as your teacher. I have hopes for you to become even stronger. Yes, teacher, said Luo Feng. He was expectant, too. Over the course of these 180 million years, he had undergone a total transformation. He was no longer a weakling unarmed with battling techniques who could only depend on setting his godly being ablaze to obtain power when facing his enemies, hoping that his enemies' powers would be consumed before he was finished. Consuming his opponents to death was only achievable in the land of extremists because that was a place where no one could send out calls for help to other great beings of their races. However, in other places, such as the original star, when one met with danger, it was always possible to obtain help from other great beings. After all, every supreme being was important. Sitting Mountain Guest turned his head, transmitting his voice to Ancestor, who stood in the distance. Space Ancestor, thank you for all these years. Now that he has met my expectations, I will take him and leave this place. There's no hurry. Wait a moment. Ancestor was by their side in a flash. Sitting Mountain Guest looked at Ancestor. There is something else? Nothing to do with you. Ancestor looked at Luo Feng. I have something to tell Luo Feng. He is my disciple, said sitting mountain guest. How is this unrelated to me? Luo Feng, from how I see it, I think you should still focus on staying within humans, but sitting mountain guest was still mid-sentence when he suddenly started left. Luo Feng, he said, since space ancestor has something to tell you, you should stay and chat with him. I will wait for you here. Then we can head back to the primal universe. Yes, teacher, Luo Feng replied. Right. It was time to head back to the primal universe. Sitting mountain guest walked off into the distance, and Luo Feng followed him. He bowed to show his respect, then addressed him. Ancestor, he said. Ancestor looked at Luo Feng and asked directly, has the thought of leaving the human race ever crossed your mind?